Okay, Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Jennifer Finley, Jim Molitor, Danielle Matt, here, Bing Matt, James Steele Jr.,
Yes.
Martin Charlo, Len Tooteeth,
Jimmy's here. Martin's here. Tom, would you give us a prayer this morning? Thank you, sir.
Today, I want to thank you for all the gifts you've given us, our resources, our family, our friends, our community. We pray for all those that have lost loved ones. We pray for all those that are ill and sick. They have a fast and speedy recovery. We pray for all those that put themselves in harm's way for us, our military, our police, all those that provide caregiving for our people, our nurses, our doctors, our teachers. We pray for wise decisions today as we consider those things that are before us. We do all this in your name. Amen.
A set of minutes. I see since Abby was not taking notes and she couldn't hear some of the recording, we have a few of the motions and seconds to fill in. So. The minutes. Go ahead, Martin.
Correction, but Abby had just a clarification on what I was talking about, the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. So I emailed her that this morning. So
Thank you, Martin.
Approve the minutes with corrections.
Motion by Martin to approve the minutes with corrections.
Mr. Chair. Question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, the computer broke up a little bit. Did we get all the motions and second figured out?
There were most of the blank motions were by Tom.
Okay.
And I think most of the blank seconds were by you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And then the other one I was going to ask was, there was a motion towards the end where you and being opposed. It just says motion by Tom to accept the proposal, but what was the proposal? Did we clarify that? Thanks.
The motion that she has listed before that for the half fair market rental, that motion actually wasn't, and that'll be removed because that was done last week or 2 weeks ago. And the proposal was to look at those fair market rentals and do an allocated rate on certain of them. And so they had that proposal.
All right, thank you. And I'll second if you didn't get one.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, I was under the understanding that the motion made last Thursday for the rental allocations was to make an adjustment to our previous one in the weeks prior for the Missoula County homes to go to the half of the fair market to match the Lake County rates. So I think that has to stay in there, right? That stands, or?
Well, that's what the proposal is, accepted lands proposal, the one right after that. There wasn't any other proposal from lands, was there, besides that? We're proposing making those adjustments to that half rental that we'd approved.
Okay, I
before.
see it. So you're saying the top one stays and the second one gets
Either
slashed
one,
out?
either way.
Okay, all
One of them doesn't belong there. You're right.
right, thank you.
Just wasn't a motion. It was an explanation of the action that we took 2 weeks ago. And then the proposal was to adjust that. Today's minutes. Be the one that we opposed, because they listed Bing, and I think it was actually Jimmy. Or were you opposed to the proposal too, Bing? Martin, to accept the minutes with amendments. If we get a second. I think that's right. All in favor? We have an agenda for today. Any additions? I see we have 2 walk-ins. Accept the agenda with the walk-ins. Second by Danielle. All in favor? Our walk-ins. Come on up. If you could turn the mic on in front of you when you're ready to speak. Just the button that says, yeah, just push the button that says talk and it'll stay on.
Good morning. So I'm here for a job that I did in September last year. Is it Craig or Greg? Greg? Greg. I've been talking with him and it's been a month and he hasn't returned any of my calls or nothing. So I just figured I'd come talk to you guys about it. But for Roxanne Whitworth, a roof that I did for her. And then there was another payment that missed $800 that I'm just going to put on my last invoice with Dana. With that's whatever. But and another thing is Dan Adler was okayed in November for a roof, and Dan's a contractor as well. He's actually a friend of mine and asked for me to do his roof. Well, he started tearing it apart because he knows what he's doing, and his contract never got okay. So he's sitting there with half a roof missing. So Greg was supposed to do something about that too, but just hasn't done anything. So I figure I'd come talk to you guys to get these figured out.
send it back to Patricia Hibbler because they quit. There was no more money, so they ended it. So I don't know if he's in or out. And if he's out, I think he's gonna be in a world of hurt.
So,
It's not up to Greg, it's up to that program over there, but Patricia Hibbler is oversees it.
so I tried to get all of this figured out before I came here too, and contracts and grants where we're given all of these, they just never did them.
But that's the thing. We need to find out if there's money available to do these. If they're not, there is no money.
So Roxanne Whitworth never got a contract either, and I
There's
did
a
the
lot of
job a
people
long
that did
time
not
ago.
get contracts. A lot. At the end, they pulled them
Yeah,
because there was no money.
so what do I do about Roxanne's? And I did it in September.
You better go talk to them and find out if she was approved.
She was,
Okay,
but contracts and grants never did it. They had them all there. Because when I talked to contracts and grants, they said, oh, we'll probably get about 20 of these done.
okay, these aren't anything that we figure out here. We need staff to go back on the documentation and look at it and see where it's at in the
Mhm.
process.
Okay,
So probably Patricia Hibbler is the one that oversees that program. And then Greg Spar oversees that one, but we need to
Yeah.
find out if it was over there and it was done and approved. And if there was money. If there
Yeah.
was, then it goes up to contracts. and
yeah,
grants.
so Greg is the one I'm supposed to be dealing with, but he just isn't doing anything.
Okay, I'd just walk right up there. He's probably up there. Can you call and see if Greg's up there?
So you did the work in September
Yeah,
and it's completed?
so when this happened, the girls are like, hey, we need to get this roof done like as soon as possible. I said, all right, we'll start the contract and all that stuff. I'll get it done with just my own money so you guys can do whatever. Well, I took all my own money, did it all, and it passed or whatever. It went to contracts and grants and it sat there for months and it never got done. They never did the contract on it. Mm-mm.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Len.
So, did you sign a contract?
So,
It's a pending
Um,
contract.
so I never signed it. I got all of it. Here's my invoice here
Okay.
for September. And when it all got sent to contracts and grants, they just said they had they had so many that they just couldn't do them all. And I said, well, I've had over 20 of them sitting here for months that you guys have not done. And they said, oh, well, we're gonna get to them. And it just never happened. But this is one of them that was done in September. And they never got the contract done. And I told them too, I said, well, that one has already been done a long time ago. If you guys can get that one done. And she says, we're going down the list. So, and what happened was those guys said over there that they had everything sent over here. And those guys said they didn't have everything sent. And then it was just a big old ordeal. But, just the finger pointing game, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know what to do about this one or what to do with Dan either, so.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming in. I know it's tough on your contractors, especially when you need to get paid right after the work is done.
Yeah.
Otherwise, but I think at this point in time, I think we need to just have Greg or Jordan, here's Jordan coming in right now, have them follow up on where exactly are we with this? 'Cause
Greg's actually working on it all. He is working. I don't know that he's contacted you, but he's looking at what contracts got to where in the whole process, and
Yeah.
he's trying to sort it all out. I can't make you any promises, but he is working on it. And you mentioned $800, but didn't tie it to a contract.
Yeah, it was supposed to be on a contract that I already signed or whatever. They just, they must have just, they didn't add $800 into it, which is fine. And I just put it on the last invoice, which is gonna be $800 over what the last invoice is supposed to be. But I've got the the contract number and everything. So it'd be easy for those guys. I can just say, this is the contract, this is when I signed, this is the invoice number, and your guys' contract number. So, which I can deal with those guys. But it was just gonna look funny, $800 more on the last invoice.
Understood.
Yeah, so,
On the other ones, I do know Greg is working on what contracts got where, and, I don't know how soon we'll be able to actually call you with an answer on that.
yeah,
But
Okay.
because Carol is correct, the ARPA money was a certain fund of money, and when
Yep.
it's gone, it's gone.
yeah,
So, but we are looking at them and, trying to figure out what the best solution could be.
okay,
But I can't make any promises.
okay. Yeah, he just never ever returns my calls, and so I told him, I'm like, man. Anyway, all right. Well, at least I got to talk to you guys and let you guys kind of know what's
Yeah.
going on. So,
And I'll ask him specifically about your name.
okay, all right. Thank you. Okay. thank you.
Martin?
Tristan, both Greg and Patty are out today.
Okay.
So Jordan Thompson's back there, he oversees them, but without Greg being here, I don't know how much information we can really get today, so.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to talk to everybody at the same time, so everybody's kind of on the same page. So I'll just wait. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Justin. Roger, come on up. Good morning. Turn that microphone on in front of you. That'd be cool. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. I guess I just came up to talk about the rental increase, the fair market value. Uncle Bob helped us get into a house 4 years ago that was abandoned for 14 years, and Lands, I guess, threw some paint on it, said we could move in, said if I did any improvements on it, it would be out of my own pocket, and I had to put probably 10 grand into fixing the house to make it livable for my babies, because I had recently had my twins then. And so we're getting charged like $800 for rent, and it's been like that. So the plan was Uncle Bob got us into this house, Bob Gochi, and we were waiting for Grandpa's probate to go through, and my mom was gonna get her land, and she was gonna gift deed me some land so I could build her a house and build us a house. And so that house is supposed to be temporary. 4 years now, and I'm still waiting on a gift deed. So I've been to Lands over and over, and people have switched places, and I'm still waiting for a gift deed that never happened. And now they're trying to say that they want to up my rent. They came to my house last month and did an inspection. So they're starting a new thing, and they want to do annual inspections now. When they haven't come to my house, they haven't improved anything on my house. They haven't cleaned the mold out of the windows like we've been doing. And now they want to say, well, we're going to up your rent by almost half of what you're paying already. So I just wanted to come and talk about that. And I know maybe you guys probably can't speed up their process over there, but I've been waiting for over 3 years now for a 20-acre gift deed. So I don't know what to do. Just wanted to come and bring it to your attention that, they're supposed to be helping our people now. Price of everything is going up. I can barely afford to come up here and see you guys. Gas is so much, and we have to take care of 5 kids, and I have to get them to school, and I've been trying to make it up here for 2 weeks now. I don't know what to do anymore. Probably $36,000 in rent in this house, plus the 10 grand that I put into the house, which could have went towards my loan on building my own house, and I could have had a house built already.
I understand your frustration. I'm glad you came in and are letting us know this. And I see Holly's here. Maybe she can tell us a little about the gift deed.
Well, I
and
met
what's
Holly
going on.
probably 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and As to, as to the, improvements you made on the house, I hope Lance might take that into consideration.
Well,
Definitely.
Mark said that wasn't gonna be taken into consideration. That was out of my own pocket.
I understand.
So on the two issues on his rental, yeah, I know that he did do improvements on it. He has been paying the $800 in rent. And then when he did get the letter, I think it was gonna go up to 1,100. I know he did come in and we visited then about, that was just, like non-affordable. And then when we did land committee, I think you guys agreed to do 50% of the Lake County rate. And so I don't know what that would bring that down to, but I think what Roger was wanting to ask for was like a waiver on the increase to keep it at the 800. To keep his rent at 800 that he's been paying. And then on the gift deed part, he was working on that with Roberta before she got sick, and then it did go through. And so me and Stormy have it now. Stormy's been working on it. We had to get a survey. Sorry. And then it went up to legal and came back. We had to reorder the survey for a few corrections. I did get that. That went to the superintendent for signature yesterday. And so when we get that back, we can get those corrections made and get that back up to legal. And then these guys should be able to get that signed shortly. So that gift deed should be completed within the month for him.
Thoughts? Danielle?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Roger, I was part of the raising the rents. I read the spreadsheet incorrectly, and I thought the highest rate was going to be right around 800. I misread the information, so I actually seconded the action for that to go up. So my apologies. I believe we made the corrections to that on Thursday. We looked at the sheet better, and if I'm reading the sheet correctly today, I actually think you'll see a $10 decrease in your rent. So the gift deed part, I can't speak to what Holly and them have done on that, but I wanted to give you my personal apologies because it didn't just affect you, it affected several people, and some people still see an increase, but the rates were all over the place. Some people were paying very, very little, and some people were paying higher rates. So some people came down and some people went up, and it was to try and make it fair for our tribal members. So no more picking and choosing who gets the best rate because of who they know or anything, just to balance it out. So I'm glad you came in, Roger, and I think that we've got it fixed for you as far as the rates going forward.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
But Holly, I would hope that his actual work on the house would be taken into consideration. That's valuable if it's not his house and it's our house.
Yeah, because I know it sat vacant, because he's in the house by Grey Wolf. And it did sit vacant for years.
14 years.
And so I know that it did need improvements. And I guess I wasn't aware, like your conversation with Mark, but he's supposed to be in today, this afternoon. And so I'll visit with him about that. And then on that spreadsheet that came in, it didn't specifically state what the new rate would be. So I just want to double check that for him and make sure.
Shows fair market rent for Lake County on a 4-bedroom at 1,580. So 1,580 divided by 2 shows 790.
Okay.
Is what I'm reading on the spreadsheet that Mark had sent to us.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Martin and then Carol.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Roger, for coming in. Yeah, I mean, and the reason why your rent was so high is because you're in Lake County or Missoula County, and the rents there are just a lot higher, and so the average. So that's
my address is Missoula County, but the casinos, I live right behind the casino.
Oh yeah, you're in Missoula County. I mean, the cutoff line, South Couture Loop. So,
okay.
But yeah, no, apologies for for this confusion and everything. So
Thank you.
I know we talked about it, and yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, man. We're doing a good job with
Thank you.
your family. And then I don't know, if he is going to go into a loan and all those things, I don't know if there's a way we can help him. They get that in place with a little bit less rent, because down payments and all the closing fees and all that. Those aren't cheap. And like Roger said, everything's gonna be more expensive to build. I assume that's what you're gonna do is build.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Let's be creative and help our tribal members get into housing.
Go ahead, Carol.
Thank you,
for coming
guys.
in, Roger.
Yeah, you guys have a good day.
You too.
That's called help. In regards to the rental increases, I understand why the department needs to do it, but I think it's just bad timing right now. And I think this is something that we need to have discussion again because, you know, we just informed the membership that rate increases are gonna happen in Mission Valley Power. Now we're raising these people's rent. Now you've seen gas just went up again. And it's just costing it. And I just, I just feel like it's bad timing. I think we need to have another discussion about this rental increase issue and, take a look at it again, because I just don't think it's, we're not helping the membership right now by doing this, so.
Thank you, Lynn. Carol?
I was hoping that they hired Teresa as the new housing coordinator. And it seems, right? Homeless coordinator. And it seems like there could be some consistency without having to go to this level. I mean, I know housing, there was one individual who had got his housing raised like $600 or $700. And he went in and met with the board, and the board was able to say, okay, well, we're gonna do it in increments. So he can try to, mitigate for the increase. And I like that kind of thing where we can work with people to help them to work through this. And then if they absolutely can't make it, like this guy with 5 kids, look at the circumstance. Don't just look at okay, well, Lake County's charging this like housing did. I mean, there's some ungodly increases there. And then to see a brand new building sitting up there and bonuses and everything else, it doesn't sit right with me. Maybe it does everybody else, but I just don't think I like to see our employees get increases, but this doesn't seem right.
I do believe he should get credit for the money he put into that house. So I hope they take that into consideration. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't agree with these rate increases. I mean, if you're gonna raise the rent on people that have been paying a certain amount for a lot of years, man, it seems like a huge jump for these people to adjust to that. I mean, we should be here trying to figure out a way to help these guys. All these people there's gonna be a lot of people coming in with this rate increase because people live on a set income. A lot of these people on this reservation, they don't have make a whole lot of money. So the rent, everything else, there's going to be a lot of people coming in here because of these rent increases with lands and housing. You got to do it. I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with this is their homeland. They're just into a different kind of world here. I just don't agree with it. Thank you.
I understand we need to be cautious with these increases, but when I look at this spreadsheet and I see one person paying $800 for a 3-bedroom and a person that knows a specific somebody paying $200, I don't think that's fair to the member that's paying $800. And we've got to get some sort of consistency for all of our tribal members. And, I don't have the right answer, but I really think that gap is wrong. And we've got to find a way to treat all of our people equally.
And there's maintenance and upkeep on these houses that's getting more and more and more expensive, and that has to be considered as well. And when the fair market value is such and such, it's usually because it's needed to take care of a place, and we're already talking about half of that value. That doesn't leave a lot of room for upkeep of a place, and we got to remember that as well. So, Philip, come on up. Morning.
Kisuk, which line Kapiniskish? My name is Philip White, Senior. And I just want to say, Husukish Hukuni for giving me this time to speak with you guys. The things I'm going to speak with you about may be considered sensitive, and so I didn't know if executive session was called for. So I just kind of want to preface with that and give the opportunity to close the door if need be.
That's your choice, Philip. It is. And if you're going to be speaking about personal kind of information, yeah, we probably should go to executive.
Then that's what I request.
We'll
Please.
go out of regular into executive. 5 minutes. So 5-minute break. Yeah.
Morning. We're here this morning on a resolution to apply for a grant, and it's to start a juvenile healing to wellness court. And we kind of got a late start on this, and so the grant is due, I think, next week. The budget for the grant is due next week. For that right away.
Do we have a resolution?
And so what is the amount of the grant and what is it going to be used for?
It's for $400,000 over 5 years, and it'll be used to implement a healing to wellness court for juveniles like the one we have for adults now. But it'll be geared mostly towards substance abuse and then like some prevention and intervention. So we'll have to hire somebody, and then we want to implement culture. So we'll contract out to cultural specialists to help guide families and youth that are in need of that and that have a high risk of recidivism or don't have a lot of direction. So
Okay.
yeah, it sounds like we have a good plan going.
So
I did submit a resolution.
It'll create more jobs.
Yeah,
All right.
for 5 years.
Okay, well, good deal. That's good.
Go ahead, Carol.
It'll create prevention for our young people that we need so desperately, not only the ones probably this age, but even younger. We should start younger. So but it's a step forward, and I'm just really happy. I'll make a motion that are we in executive?
No, we went back into regular.
Make a motion
I
to
hope we're
proceed with the grant application.
motion by Carol to put in the grant application. Second by Danielle. All in favor? Let's get that court in place.
Thank you.
Morning.
As I'm sure you know that back in 2020, the tribes received a CTAS grant, and the court was purpose area 4 in that grant. And we were going to use the money in that grant to expand the courthouse, this courtroom, build a new courtroom, and remodel the existing offices and courtroom. Then COVID hit and prices went way up. Went from being in budget to about $1 million over budget. So we've been kind of in a holding pattern, hoping that the prices would come back down so we could do the original plans. That's not going to happen. We're at the point now where we need to get it done. We're getting close to the end of our time, and so we're going to change the scope, I guess, on the money that we have, and we're going to now just add a new courtroom and a partial remodel. And so I need to get permission to change the scope of the grant that we have. And I also need permission to start construction as soon as possible.
Than what they provided us.
Grant for?
879,000, I believe. I don't have that in front of me, but I think that's what it was, right around there.
Yeah, it was just under 800,000. And they originally had planned to remodel for ADA bathrooms. They were gonna take the old court and make that more of office space. And then kind of update the current where the clerks are and then have the addition. The problem is with the budget coming in like $1 million over, the only thing that they're even gonna have money to do now is just the court addition itself.
Well, I was gonna say, you really can't get much done on 800,000.
Yep.
As John could probably attest to, but
Before
I was
COVID,
really
we
hoping
could've.
that we can, expand the courtroom. I mean, that courtroom is just, tiny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the new courtroom will do that. It's gonna be
Yeah.
much larger, so.
Okay.
Entertain the motion to make the modification to the scope. Motion by Len. Second by Bing. All in favor?
Okay, and I think we also need permission to start construction, correct?
Yeah, we need to get started on construction right away. They said that they won't allow us to spend past September 30. We did do bids on the remodel and we'd had one bid came within budget and that was R&R Construction. So if we can get approval to move forward with the tribal preference bidder, we'd like to get that moving as well. Yeah, for construction, we have to have council approval and for the dollar amount.
So the motion by Len to approve the construction contract with R&R. Second by Jimmy. All in favor? Unanimous with Martin out of the room.
Okay, and are you gonna be, how long are you gonna be here today? Done now, and I'll get it over to you for, on the letterhead and get the signature. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.